Welcome to the Guide to Movies podcast with Joe and Sean. I am Joe, he is Sean, and we are joined by the return of Burns Reviews. John from Burns Reviews, I should say. I keep calling you Burns.
That's cool, man. Burns works too. How's it going, guys?
Oh, it's good. It's good. Sean, what's going on in your neck of the woods?
I don't know. I'm getting more upset about my Instagram Live game. I tried to do an Instagram Live here, so I've tried to slide into Paul Pierce's DMs to see how he does his Instagram Live because he seemed to have got more attention. For anyone who doesn't know, Paul Pierce got into some trouble with his Instagram Live by just basically partying with strippers for about 4 to 5 hours, not realizing that it was Instagram Live, or maybe realizing it. I'm not sure which.
Who among us has not? Oh man, Burns, you're like all about that. You know the story. I didn't even hear that before.
I've heard tidbits about it. He went live in he outed himself, right? He got himself in trouble because he was live on Instagram or something like that in a strip club or something, right?
He told on himself somehow. Yes. No one seemed to mind.
People do,
Weirdest announcement for Hustlers 2 ever.
If only.
Hey, who knows? Never say never in this world. But all right, so Burns, it's been a while since we chatted. What is going on in your neck of the woods?
I just got my second shot, which was awesome, and then awful.
It was awful, wasn't it?
It gets bad.
and I totally thought I was in the clear because they're like, well, around 12 hours you're gonna start to feel it, and I'm like, I hit 12 hours. I'm like, this is great. Around hour 18, I was like, I'm cold.
Mm-hmm.
I want every blanket. I want to make a small fire. And it was about that way for a solid, 24 hours, I guess. And then finally just kind of little by little, I felt like a human again. I knew when I was doing good when I was like, I want coffee again. It's always a good scene when you're like, I want coffee.
Yep.
So that's
I think I went to bed in ski gear when I
Yeah, my dumb ass though. I sleep with a fan and stuff, and I that night I was like, "Yep, turning this on and opening the window." I was like freezing, shivering, but whatever. Yeah, it's a terrible feeling. I mean, it's essentially like you feel like you got a really bad case of the flu.
Yeah,
and it's not fun.
I just remember thinking all I want is for my head to sweat and for this to be gone, and then I'll be done. Because it felt like it was just swelling in my head. I'm like, can I just sweat this out and be done? Because this has got awful. Really, in the scheme of things, it's not that bad. Go get a shot. Don't not get the shot, people.
Or as our friend of the pod, Mitch McConnell says, Republican men, you can get it. But anyway, you're now allowed to do this. That's the double vax.
double vax bros.
2 tests. All right, let's dive into some stuff. We have some, I think, fun stories to talk about today. And for those in the comments asking about our YouTubes and Twitters and Instagrams and all that fun stuff, we will share all that with you near the end. But Guide to Movies, Math Teacher Movies, and Burns Reviews, you can probably do find by yourself if you just Google those names or search those names. So you'll definitely find them. But let's dive into what we've been watching. I'm going to start briefly because I need to work myself up real quick to talk about this and then just not talk about it again because every time I see a preview for it, I start weeping. The Father, I finally watched last week. And when I tell you that I was on this floor in the fetal position, crying after it, it for anyone that has a family member or a friend who has Alzheimer's or dementia or anything like that, it is a gut punch. And there was one line at the end that absolutely broke me when Anthony Hopkins is asking for his mother. I'm welling up right now, so we're going to move on to the other one, but I highly recommend that. But also, I saw Nobody. Nobody was fine. It's exactly what I expected it to be. I don't know. I'm not sold on Bob Odenkirk as an action star like that. The last 20 minutes were absolutely hilarious. It was like Home Alone meets John Wick. But what's that?
With Doc Brown.
Yeah, with Doc Brown. He's having the time of his life. Good for him. But yeah, fun movie. I expect 7 sequels or something, but there we are. Sean, what have you been watching?
Well, so as you always do, you tell us to pick one movie that we watched this week that we liked. So I picked 3. The first one is I finally got around to seeing Godzilla vs. Kong, and it was some of the greatest, most majestic monster battles and then just this story that was absolutely terrible. And I understand complaining about a story in a movie like this is like complaining about a hot dog at a seafood restaurant, which I did once. If you are going to like just throw that story at me and just bombard me with how, frankly irritating it is, instead of giving me monster fights, I'm going to get mad. The next one I saw was...
Can I pause you real quick there? What about the little girl in that movie? Wasn't she delightful?
She was delightful.
Good.
Yeah, she was amazing, and it's telling that the only good performance was the one with no dialogue whatsoever. So that's the most captivating character was the one with no dialogue.
I thought her mom was good, but
you mean
the Rebecca Hall team was okay. The team with like Millie Bobby Brown, I couldn't stand those characters.
And it bummed me out because Brian Tyree Henry I love, but in this he's just not good.
It was lazy writing, and he is like some of him. What he said, I was like, "Ha! See what they're doing there," and the rest of it, I was like, "God, please stop." Millie Bobby Brown is, I think, getting better. Honestly, I thought she was fine, but the writing was shit for her scenes.
They were like Joss Whedon jokes, like when he walks in and there's like, "Bitch." It's like, come on.
He was trying to be like a conspiracy theorist, and instead of being a conspiracy, he was just like, hey, they're at this flat, bibbity bobbity, like people are shooting at us, Brian Tyree. Please focus on that. Like,
as they just walk into the site of a major disaster, go into the elevator. Look, guys, boop.
Government's not real, hibbity hoo, and then he just like does a backflip out of there. Like, dude, what is going on? All right, well. The next one I watched was Concrete Cowboy from Netflix, which I like this one a lot because Joe and I had a lot to say about this one back and forth. We don't know if we like it, but we had a lot to say back and forth. I think that it was over stylized. And other than that, though, it has a compelling story. There's some great messages there. An ending where I wanted to see a little bit more going. So I think this one is lacking, but it might be worth the watch for some people that are interested in the topic of the movie. And the last one is one that nobody has seen, but I still want to talk about it because I absolutely loved it. It was Shiva Baby. And Shiva Baby was basically about a young single woman at a Shiva. And so everyone is always asking, like, why aren't you married yet? What's going on? And it's just this claustrophobic, hysterical, almost like a horror type of movie that was so unbelievably fun. It is 77 minutes long. Everyone should watch this movie. Just like it's a quick one. It's $5 rental. Just absolutely, it's so enjoyable.
Is this a 2021 movie?
Technically, I think. Well, this is where we get into the weird festival thing, where I think I looked at the releases and it said 2021, but if you go on IMDb, it'll say 2020.
Okay. I default to when I watched it then. If I know it's a new release, I default to when I watched it. Every time that someone says Shiva, and every time that you've mentioned that, I think of this.
I think I know what you're going to put.
I think of this. Let me see if I can.
Know what you're going to put.
I need to get better with my sharing and share quicker, but what is the name of this tab I have open? And here we go.
Better hope it's not a bad tab or anything like that. Oh, it's not.
See the show The League, and their trophy is the Shiva.
I can't remember the rest of it, but
the League, Shiva Kamini. The League is a ridiculous show, John. If you haven't seen it, it's about just friends in fantasy football, and their trophy is based off of this girl from high school who's like something happened, but she ends up like. She had a total glow up, and it's just it's stupid and it's very inappropriate, but it's really funny.
Dear God.
So there's that. So I'm glad to hear that she was good in that movie, though. Moving on, John, what have you been watching?
I've seen both of those. I thought they were like both serviceable. Nobody, Godzilla. I saw The Unholy, the other one that came out the same week as Godzilla. Not very good. Jeffrey Dean Morgan, who plays Negan on The Walking Dead. You have the statue that performs miracles. It's supposed to be like Mother Mary. It's like something like a bunch of 14-year-old girls would watch, like a slumber party. The jump scares remind me of like 2006, like when you would look at like, hey, look at the screensaver, and they would jump at you. The whole movie, just god awful. Don't watch it. So that's
I will not watch that because that's
so
shit
bad.
out of me.
This makes me mad.
And and they sent me like an early screener for it, and I felt bad. And it was the same day that aligned with like all the negative effects of like the second shot, and I'm like, and I was just like, I'm not getting in front of a camera. Nobody's talking about this movie. Nobody really cares. I'm gonna go back to bed. But it was bad. It was bad. But I will recommend a good thing. I saw. Did you guys see on Amazon Prime Invincible? The new Robert Kirkman show.
Yes.
That's pretty good. I would recommend that. I've been watching that.
That's a solid show. And just to plug Kevin, Kevbot9000 and TasteInFilm_bad on Twitter. Kevbot on Instagram, TasteInFilm_bad on Twitter. He is doing a recap of the show for Guide to Movies every week, and his recaps are it's some incredible writing, actually, and he's so knowledgeable about Invincible. And he's always like, am I saying too much? Did I say too much? Should I say this? Should I say that? But it's cool to see a show like that really take off. So, fun stuff.
Cool.
One thing that did also take off this past weekend was the Screen Actors Guild Awards, which I actually really enjoyed. The 1 hour condensed timeline. I was like, this is how you do it in a pandemic. So when for future like COVID strains and stuff, when we're right back to this, knock on wood.
Why would you say that?
That is how you do it. So let's turn to Sean. Sean, give us a little bit of what's in the awards watch with Sean on Guide to Movies that you provide every Monday, I should say. And what were your thoughts on the SAG Awards?
Well, so for some reason, it's not that I have this like boycott of the SAG Awards, but they always are the ones that fly right over my head. I keep track of who wins and everything, but I'll just like all of a sudden be like, oh, those happened tonight? And I mean, obviously the Easter holiday was the reason I sort of like they flew over my head this time. I think, you either do the hour show during the pandemic or you make everyone show up like Soderbergh is doing at the Oscars. It's like Hopkins is like, I don't know if I should go outside. He's like, get in there, old man. Go breathe on those other people. Let's have some fun. But in terms of the winners, I still kept track of those. And let's just get the boring ones out of the way. Chadwick Boseman, Daniel Kaluuya, congratulations on your Oscar wins. Like just knock on wood because I hope they win, but those are pretty much set in stone. There will be one thing that might happen. The BAFTAs are this weekend, and there might be a chance Anthony Hopkins wins for The Father, just because the BAFTAs want to give that up. The British guy and all that good stuff. It's a rare chance, but if that happens, nothing stops this train. Chadwick Boseman is still going to the Oscars, going for the win there. So those two are pretty much set. The ladies have always been a little bit nuts this year. And I still don't know what to make of Best Actress. I think the Carey Mulligan hype train was weirdly manufactured in the sense that I don't know where that came from. All of a sudden, everyone said, I think Carey Mulligan's going to win. Why? I don't know. In terms of the popularity, obviously it's a great performance. I'm not going on who should win. But now with Viola Davis, and if Carey Mulligan won that SAG, that would have been huge. That probably would have been the nail in the coffin. That would have been it. But with Viola Davis winning the SAG, this could now mean possibly Viola Davis, possibly Frances McDormand can sneak in there. Carey Mulligan still has a shot, but I think her momentum got really crushed by this. There is a theory of Andra Day coming in, swooping in with everyone else sort of infighting and going for that Oscar then. That's a very, very interesting theory that probably won't happen. Vanessa
Kirby.
And then I was about to mention, and then Vanessa Kirby is there. So I feel like Vanessa Kirby's the only one that hasn't had any momentum going on. She's always been solidified as the nominee. She was pretty much there, but just because that movie couldn't get arrested in any other category, it's just pretty much that just sort of threw its momentum off. But that would be a fun little thing if Vanessa Kirby comes in there. Really, anyone could win Best Actress. It's getting nuts. Now, thankfully, Best Supporting Actress has calmed down a little bit because that was also the same where it's I don't know who's going to win. Now, Best Supporting Actress is a little bit easier, where I think it is going to be, and I'm not even kidding, I've practiced this name, Yeun, who won for Best Supporting Actress in Minari. First of all, amazing performance. Everybody is really loving Minari. They want to give it something. They'll give it to her because they already love her, and her performance is good, great even. I think she has pretty much gotten it. Now, the leader before that was Maria Bakalova. I don't know about that one anymore. I thought that was always a shaky kind of win to begin with. That one, it still could happen. It still could be the most mainstream. It's between those two now. And I still have my theory that Minari might win Best Picture. I don't think it's going to now, and I'll talk about that in a second. But with Minari, I was hoping that maybe it could win Best Picture. If it gets a Best Supporting Actress, hey, it's getting other awards. Maybe it'll start getting that Best Picture. I don't think it's going to anymore, even though that was my theory. For the Best Ensemble, and this will be the last one I go over, it went to Trial of Chicago 7. It would have been really dumb if it went to anything else. That is actually the correct answer. Those are all just it is the most actors. It is some of the best performances. It really is just the perfect one for that. Now that is usually considered the best picture type of predictor. However, it wasn't this year because Nomadland wasn't even there. Mainly because most of the actors in that were actual people in the vans. They probably would have had to hawk their SAG, to pay for the next meal and stuff like that. So in that situation, Nomadland was not really, not that it wasn't eligible, but just wasn't going for that. If Minari won that, I would say, oh, Minari's got a way to sneak attack Best Picture. But now it seems like Nomadland's going to be the Best Picture. It seems like that was always the case. I still hate the sure thing stuff that everyone's hitting with. And I'm like, I don't know, something else. I'm also hoping for another Parasite year where it's just this small film comes in with a different type of representation, different from what we usually see from Hollywood, which, by the way, is kind of Nomadland. But, just the small film comes in. And I just wanted to see it take over a little bit. I think this is going to be Nomadland. I think it's an easy predictor, but we'll see what happens in the next 2 weeks where I speculate wildly.
Are you a big awards guy, John?
I always try to be, and then by the time we're done, I'm always like, why did I do this to myself?
It's true. It's tough. Sean, you're very into it and you follow it a lot closer. And even when I try to dive in, I'm like, nope, this is Sean's thing. I'll let him go. Can't do this.
Yeah, it's become an obsession since since Titanic. But yeah, so pretty much
97.
I mean, that's the first time I even knew the Oscars existed. So I was like, they give awards for movies?
This is my Super Bowl.
And then the next year I was like, let's see who wins this year. It's Shakespeare in Love. I'm like, okay, I think I'm good.
I'm out.
So Sean, yeah, I'm out. So Sean, if you were to have to say or have to decide which of the Best Picture nominees does not belong, which would you decide? You see what I'm doing there? John, we were on a debate the other night, and it got a little heated, and that was one of the questions. And I argued that Mank, if you had to get rid of one, Mank was the outlier based on whatever, and it did not go over well.
Mank is a tough watch.
Yeah, see, this is the thing with me. I adored Mank. But I would probably also pick Mank just because of the Best Pictures. It's not the one that reaches any of the audience. Mank and Nomadland were the ones where I loved those movies, but I won't recommend them to anybody. I won't recommend them to. Sorry, you guys I would, but to family and stuff. They're how was Nomadland? Frances McDormand drives in a van for 2 hours. I'm like, you'll like Judas and the Black Messiah.
But not everyone will, as we found out the other night.
That's exactly what I'm doing.
Oh, man. All right, well, you can catch Awards Watch with Sean every Monday on GuideToMovies.com. And we also, in 2 weeks, our podcast will be solely devoted to our Oscar predictions and all that stuff. And also look for an Oscars contest coming out shortly. So we'll promote that as it is available. But one thing that I do want to throw in here and get your guys' opinion on is, do you guys ever see this movie called Shazam?
I did.
There is some weird stuff going on there where people are swearing that this deleted scene was in the movie, that they saw it in the movie. And David S. Sandberg, the director, David F. Sandberg, right, is swearing that it was not in the movie. And I don't know what I believe anymore because I'm pretty sure I remember it in the movie, but maybe I don't. So we're going to watch the scene real quick, and then I want to know from you guys.
Is this Shaquille O'Neal as a genie with
no.
with Sinbad? And
wait a minute.
That was a classic. Talk about the launch of the DCEU. There you go. But here's the clip in question.
Guys, there's 6 of us and there's 7 thrones. Who's that for?
Well, whoever it is, I'm gonna love them no matter what, because they're an automatic part of the family.
And that's the scene, all right? So, first of all, that's a tease for Black Adam. Second of all, there is no way The Rock is fitting in that chair. And third of all, I'm pretty sure I saw that in the movie. I remember it. When I saw it, I was like, oh yeah, I remember this scene. John, do you remember? Oh, go ahead, Sean.
Did you see it after the credits, or like I
don't know. I don't remember what I did yesterday, but I remember that scene for some reason. Do you, John?
It doesn't stand out to me, but it wouldn't shock me if I did see it. Do you know what I mean? Like it's a fine scene. It wasn't overly memorable, you know.
I'm so confused. Like the director swears that he cut it early on in the process. He's like, it definitely was not in the movie. And all these people are like, we saw it. And I'm one of them. So restore the throne room scene or whatever. Jumping on hashtags. Other hashtag
with room for more.
Yeah. My other hashtag was justice for Meryl and Mamma Mia. But
oh my God.
I'm trying to just like get stuff going. Sean, you don't remember this, right?
I truly don't, and I remember loving everything about when, like, you know, the super family like came about and stuff. So I feel like I would have just maybe I was just so excited at the like, you know, after their little like carnival fight that maybe this scene happened, and I was just so excited and like throwing my popcorn that I missed this like quick scene.
I can see that
after their little carnival fight. I love the way you just. Oh man. Well, either this is like a true like what the hell is going on, or it's just wonderful promotion and early buzz for Shazam 2. So he needs to recreate the throne room scene though, and just like F with people's minds in that movie. Well,
different people in different places. Like
yeah, with Helen Mirren.
Yeah, with Helen Mirren.
She will be the villain. Let's switch gears, get into some of the news that we have this week, and let's first start with conversation around Space Jam: A New Legacy. The trailer dropped on Saturday, and guys, when I tell you that I was less than impressed, all I keep thinking about is that scene where, well, number one, I can't get past the fact that LeBron's son gets kidnapped, and the only way to get him back is to win a basketball game. So that seems like lazy writing. But number two is that, did you see LeBron falling into like Toontown or whatever? He's like, oh, yeah. Like, it is the worst acting. And I've seen that guy try to sell a foul in basketball. It was ridiculous. Sean, Space Jam, you'll see it.
I mean, I'll see it. Like I'm curious now because they made like what I guess are to be considered live action Looney Tunes because they were regular Looney Tunes in the Toon world. Then they went into the Space Jam world, and then they all became like, you know, digital fur technology Looney Tunes. Now, yet still the grandma is computerized. I feel like the grandma should have like all of a sudden been like Imelda Staunton or something where like it's an actual old lady because they have her doing the gymnastics. But she is not like live action. I don't know if they're supposed to be live action. This is something where like, you know, everyone could say, oh, Sean, it's a kid's movie. This looks like it was a movie plotted out by kids. They're just like, he goes down an elevator and walks into an orb, and there's another person that stole the. And it really does seem like it's on the fly. I will get this out of the way. Space Jam was one of my favorite movies as a child. But for all those whose Space Jam was one of their favorite movies as a child, watch it now. It's not great. It does not hold up at all. Like, with the exception of Bill Murray, that like he's the one person that knew this movie wasn't going to be that great, and so he's sort of having fun with it. But it's, you know, it doesn't have a second act, which is just odd. But I'd say, like, when it comes to, you know, like, so nobody's destroying Space Jam is what I was meaning to say there. No one is destroying your childhood. You were dumb in your childhood, and now a new generation of kids are going to be dumb in their childhoods. So buckle up, everybody, because that cycle keeps on going.
John, this story looks less than desirable, and for a film that has been in development hell for like 10 years, this is what they came out with.
Yeah, I was getting vibes of like Ready Player One, like in that last scene when they get all these characters flying around, and then the big standout to me was like, they've got the characters from A Clockwork Orange, who were like notorious rapists. If you've ever seen that movie, but they're like Pepe Le Pew, get him out. And I'm like, and I'm fine with both, but like, pick a fucking lane. You know? Like, that's my problem. Like, you can leave them in, but come on.
I totally agree with that. The Ready Player One comparison, I think I tweeted, Ready Player Two looks really good.
I really do. I worry about it because I think they're using all of the WB properties, and so I'm wondering if they're just going to bring like Judas and the Black Messiah in there. Dune is going to get in there. Like, you know, they're just like really pumping HBO Max.
I bet you Cyborg won't be in there.
Definitely not.
Oh man,
Don Cheadle also looks very checked out. He looks so bored. He's got like one scene, he's on a green screen. He's just like, "Hey, you're going down there." And
it looks like the way that he popped up. It reminded me of like, I'm assuming you both did not see this movie because I don't know why I did. But SpongeBob, Sponge on the Run, when what's his name, Keanu Reeves pops up. It is nothing but a paycheck. The man has his Marvel money. He's good to go.
Cheadle's got that "Give Me a War Machine" series energy going on in that trailer.
Yeah,
it's very true. Yeah. I'll get a paycheck here. Well, look, that movie is coming out in July, I believe it is. But in addition to that, we also found out that we have some delayed movies. Oddly enough, though, all of these have been delayed only a week, which is weird. The Mortal Kombat one was pushed back to the 23rd of April. I believe that was to give Godzilla versus Kong a little more time to breathe. I had thought that way back when with Zack Snyder's Justice League coming out, and then Godzilla versus Kong, and then Mortal Kombat. It just seemed very loaded. It probably was like they didn't know how it would take off, but now given that Godzilla versus Kong is doing wild numbers and Zack Snyder's Justice League did well, like, I think they're like, all right, let's spread the wealth here. So we got Mortal Kombat, Uncharted, which is Tom Holland's video game adaptation of the film adaptation of the video game, was delayed for the 17th time. Only a week later this year, Resident Evil: Welcome to Raccoon City, which is the reboot of the Resident Evil series, that was pushed a week. And then Venom: Let There Be Carnage was also pushed a week. Out of those four, John, which one are you most excited to see?
Shit, I was not paying attention to the. I wasn't writing them down. I was like, "Oh, okay, generic movie."
Mortal Kombat, Uncharted,
right?
Resident Evil: Welcome to Raccoon City.
No.
Venom. Let There Be a Wig on whatever his name is.
Woody, yeah. Probably Mortal Kombat. I don't know. I need like a trailer for Venom, but probably Mortal Kombat.
I'm kind of with you there. I'm very excited for that. Venom, though, I had a lot of fun with Venom. The first one, it is what it is, but it was just a lot of fun. So I'm ready for the second one. Sean, Welcome to Raccoon City seemed to get some emotion on your face when I said that.
So that is one of the Resident Evil. That's the ones with the zombies and the Mila Jovovich and that.
But this is a reboot,
right? I had
a reboot. So is she not in it?
She's not in it,
right?
So it's just raccoons. What is Raccoon City? I really didn't know most of those words meant.
It's where the Umbrella Corporation is stationed.
Sorry, what the fuck is that?
I had the same. I had the same thought.
I don't know. Like, I'll choose Uncharted.
Did any of you guys have to watch the Monster Hunter movie that came out around Christmas with Mila Djokovic and also her husband? It's the same people who have done the whole slew of this. I'm so tired of this franchise. I'm over it, man. I'm over it. Again, show me a good trailer, I guess. I don't know.
Yeah, surprise me. No, I did not see Monster Hunter. I at one point remember going, "Oh yeah, that came out," Anyway, there are certain films that I just, if I have to cut them, that was one of the ones that got cut.
Yeah.
Just like Netflix cut a fat check for $400 million plus for the Knives Out sequels, Knives Out 2 and 3. Ryan Johnson has them mapped out. Ryan Johnson. Yeah. Johnson has them. He's already mapped them out, written both sequels, and he's going to return to direct both films with Daniel Craig once again leading the cast. There was a story today saying that Craig and Ryan Johnson are both rumored to be receiving like $100 million per film or something. Which, I mean, listen, Knives Out was fine. It was a good movie, but people are absolutely obsessed with it. And, you know, apart from Chris Evans' sweater, Sean, there's not much there. I mean, and Chris Evans isn't going to be in this, so that pisses me off. I'm kidding. Go ahead, Sean.
Well,
So, first of all, they cut a deal. His sweater is still making an appearance. It'll be on. No, I'm surprised. I don't think we have talked about the Knives Out movie then, because I really did love this. I understand that it was just like a boilerplate mystery, but I sort of loved the modern touch it put on the Agatha Christie thing, where, you know, instead of just rehashing Agatha Christie, and who would ever do that? But I think about, like, I really like love like that movie and how they put together some big time celebrities, some people that are rising, and then a few people that we never heard of before. Mm-hmm. And I really like that they kind of put that together. It made for an interesting mix of chemistry. Now, can they duplicate that chemistry 2 more times? Probably not. Can they duplicate the magic of the Knives Out thing again? Ryan Johnson is a very clever writer, so maybe he's really can be that good when it comes to a mystery, that I would really love to see him go at it again. When it comes to the Netflix thing, I mean, maybe it's more creative freedom. I don't know exactly, you know, what drew him to the Netflix thing. Maybe it is just the lots of money. One of those two. But you know, he's got his last Jedi. He's got his last Jedi throne already, so he's good. But I mean, maybe he wanted some more. Maybe he wanted the creative freedom. But regardless, I am going to love these. Probably not as much as the first, but I'm hoping that they do just as well. And you're right, Chris Evans' sweater game is choice.
If one of these sequels is not called Knives Out, The Last Knife, I'm going to be pissed. Come on, pay homage to your Star Wars controversial film. Burns.
Yeah. Oh, so, well, I mean, we all...
You, go!
Well, we all know that Ryan Johnson is always really good at planning out sequels to a franchise, so I'm intrigued to see what he does. I'm sure he's got it all covered and mapped out. That's... And you know, not for nothing, I'm still waiting for No Time to Die, man. Are we not getting that movie? You know, Daniel Craig's what's like 4 years later? It's like, well, he's got a new movie. Don't worry about that.
With the delays on that film, Daniel Craig has now hated playing Bond longer than he's played Bond. He's just been pissed off about it since before the last one.
Daniel, you're going to do another press tour.
Yeah, the press tour is going to be like, go watch Knives Out, and also James Bond is finally coming out. You should go watch that too.
Yeah, that's happening.
I get it all in one shot. As far as Netflix, I don't know. Like, Netflix is one of those things where it's like I'm always looking forward to like one of their movies, and then again I go to check it out, and it's always kind of underwhelming, always kind of undercooked. I can't remember the last really good Netflix original movie I saw, so, and maybe it's like just evading me, but like even said, like, you guys saw
Cowboy.
I guess that's what I'm saying. Like, it's always like a Project Power. I'm like, all right. Extraction was all right, but I'm like, all right. Yeah, exactly. That's the outlier. But everything else is like
Roma.
I don't know. Yeah,
which is like Extraction, but like...
right. But as far as the Knives Out sequel, I think the first cut is the deepest. The sequels are going to be kind of,
yeah.
Was that a knife pun?
I was just going to say,
you knew it was.
Jamie Lee Curtis has taken to Instagram to speak for the Thromby family and said to clear up any rumors, the Thromby family is in family counseling, and a therapist suggested they stay away from Benoit Blanc in the future. Linda was fine as she kicked her loafer-wearing prick of a husband to the curb. The rest of them are hustling. Ransom is apparently in the knitting sweater business, a new skill he picked up in the slammer. Joni has some vaginal scented bath bomb.
Oh my God.
Walt is self-publishing his memoir. None of us will be joining Mr. Blanc in Greece. As the family spokesperson, we wish the filmmakers all our best in their new venture.
I'm so sorry. I want to see that movie more.
Yeah.
I want to see the Thrombies more right now. Benoit Blanc is fun in Greece and everything, but that is amazing.
It is kind of crazy. All right, let's move on to the next story, which is going to piss me off as I read it. But Walter Hamada, who is well known as the president of DC Films and knows what the fans really want, has canceled 2 of the movies that are coming out. Aquaman spinoff The Trench, which was going to be a James Wan film focused on the Trench Kingdom and slated to be more horror-driven, which is James Wan's specialty. And then also Ava DuVernay's New Gods. And this one, that's the one that really pisses me off, because Ava DuVernay doing a comic movie like this would have been phenomenal. They said that it didn't fit into the plans for the future DC slate. It's the first time I heard them mention they had plans. And the apparently with the Trench, New Gods, the parameters of that project had exceeded a standalone film structure. Don't know what that means either. But they also reportedly, according to, I believe this was Deadline, want to put distance between New Gods and Zack Snyder's Justice League due to the presence of Darkseid, who would have been the villain in DuVernay's film. This fucking guy, I'm sorry. I just everything that comes out of DC pisses me off because it's just all over the place. They're like, no, we had plans. We're going to bring in Supergirl. Everyone wants that. You guys love Cyborg? We got one better for you. We're going to get rid of the African-American representation and throw in Supergirl, because that's what we need. Henry Cavill, probably not coming back. We don't want to pay the money. Zack Snyder, you guys want him back? Well, it did well on HBO Max, and it was pretty solid for us, but fuck that guy. All this stuff just pisses me off. Burns, thoughts?
Yeah. I don't understand why they can't just throw $60 million at a couple different directors and just do it all. Just keep the DCEU going. Do they're putting a lot of their eggs into this whole Robert Pattinson Batman, it looks like. And if that flops, then it's well, I guess we'll just start over again.
I think
so. It's
sorry to cut you off. What you just said is spot on, though. You're creating an extended universe where there's different stories going on. Fucking play with that. What's the problem here? I hate them all.
Yeah, I mean, keep the characters, but just get away from trying to connect it all, I guess. You know what I mean?
It's
Make
really
them smaller
tough. It's really tough when you're releasing major tentpole films that do really well, like The Kitchen, The Goldfinch, all of those, fun. Shaft, redoing Shaft, all that stuff, right? They're the ones that they really should focus on. But yeah. Sean, as our resident comic book movie guy, but not comic book aficionado, what are your thoughts on Walter Hamada?
First of all, before we get into any of that, fuck you for reminding me of The Kitchen. God damn it. I just got that movie out of my head. Holy shit. What a play.
Why would you even watch that movie? I had to scratch my head and go you know what that movie makes me think of? I remember back when we went to go see movies, I see the trailer for that in every fucking movie. And I'm like, fucking hate that fucking movie. Nobody's going to remember what it was.
The reason why I went to see it is because there were movie theaters and I was able to go.
Oh my God.
Melissa McCarthy flop? Does that mean her husband directed this one too? No, I'm kidding. No. Okay. Anyway, Sean.
Oh yeah, let's talk about this kind of deal. I don't understand how they say Darkseid is so hot right now, to borrow a phrase from Mugatu.
He's so hot.
He's so hot right now. Why would you want to distance yourself from this New God situation with a director that is famous for diversity, who is someone who's huge, knows how to make a great film that's sci-fi? I will stand behind A Wrinkle in Time. It's weird. It's very weird. It's a little bit off, but she can play in that realm very nicely where, you can have some fun with this. She could make something interesting there. Now I will start screaming about the James Wan situation because like, I don't know anything about comic books, but I do love comic book movies. Never really liked much about the DCEU except for not what they're recently doing, but except for like the Snyder Cut situation. But I think Aquaman is a solid masterpiece. I think Aquaman is probably one of the best DC movies ever made. I'm sort of not being ironic.
Masterpiece was an interesting choice of words. I love it.
I love this movie, and the fact that like you're not going to explore this world further infuriates me. With a director that was the director of the original Aquaman, and you're not going to have some fun with it and let him play in that backyard. I mean, really, like, what is that going to do? What harm is that going to do? He's going to talk about a little world in Aquaman. You're not derailing anything. You've already derailed everything that happened in DC, and because they're already going out in 8 different things. I just watched a 4-hour movie that was just not a 4-hour movie, but a 4-hour what do they call it, cul-de-sac, and I mean, so pretty much I'm already like just furious about these two. I think you could have some fun with this. You could enjoy yourself. Like you said, they don't have a plan. Don't pretend they don't have it. They do not have a plan. So like they were doing after like the original 2017 Justice League, they just started making shit. And that was kind of fun. Because it was like, okay, nothing's really connecting here. They're just sort of making all of this stuff. And we're enjoying just some fun DC Comics movies. You could go back to that, or you could try to make this universe that I don't know what universe they're making if they're just shoveling everything to the side.
Do you think there's any chance that Warner Brothers, and I'm probably giving them too much credit, any chance that they're purposely doing this knowing that it'll definitely like kick the hornet's nest? Like, for example, if you did something like, if you just put out the Snyder Cut when they asked for it in the beginning, and maybe some people watched it, and that's fine. But in this scenario, you have so many people behind it, everybody checks it out because it's now like buzzing, and they're just curious about it. Do you think maybe they're just trying to recapture that, and by telling you, no, we're not doing the Snyderverse, we're not doing this, in maybe like a Queen's Gambit kind of way to get people like fired up? Because it's basically free press if you can get the people doing it for you. Am I just giving them way too much credit?
You are giving them too much credit, but I love this theory.
You know what I mean? Because, like, if you can recapture that Snyder Cut kind of magic, then why wouldn't you? It's very cheap. You have them fly the planes above the studios. I mean, I don't know. Like, you know what I'm saying? It could be, because I don't know what Warner Brothers is doing as far as, like, the DC anything right now. It seems kind of like, well, they got Batman. And I guess they got, like, Black Adam, and they got... maybe the Flash. Did you hear Michael Keaton's not doing the Flash now?
Yeah, Michael Keaton's like, I don't know.
I don't want to get. He's like, I don't want to get COVID.
Movie 17 times. Like the whole movie has changed. Like even the Cyborg situation where they're removing him from it and replacing him with Supergirl in the movie. That like fucking idiots. That's number one. Number two is I had that thought, John, about what they're doing with the Snyderverse and stuff, like whether they would continue that or whatever. I don't understand why you wouldn't continue it on HBO Max at least. And
right.
Like, I think you can do a couple series if you wanted. You don't even have to do full-blown movies, but like people want to see that what goes on with the Nightmare stuff. People love Deathstroke. And Joe Manganiello. And he tweeted the other day that he is he tweeted restore the Snyderverse, and I was like, woo, throw some of that gasoline on that fire.
He tweeted, stop mispronouncing my name, jackass.
But if we're not going to get into the Ray Fisher story that broke today much, but if we were talking about any other studio and not a studio that continues to like discredit their popular Black superhero and protect assholes like Joss Whedon and even Jeff Johns, who had some really shitty things to say, and some pretty they dove into. Now we're going to talk about it. Fuck. They dove into Krypton, the show Krypton that was on Sci-Fi for 2 seasons, which was about it was set on Krypton, and it was about Superman's grandfather when he was younger. I loved it. I thought it was just really different and well done. But apparently one of the main Black actresses, there was some battle about like her hair looked different in another scene. And I think it was Jeff Johns that said like, well, we need to go back and fix that or something along the lines of that. But the main piece and the important piece here is that she said, well, like Black women, like they change their hair a lot. Like it's part of the culture. And he said, no, it's not.
I'll
Okay,
tell you.
Jeff Johns, chairman of Black Woman Culture.
Right. It's just like everything about that company right now is just pissing me off. I don't understand it. I don't know. So back to the original story. Who the fuck knows what's going on in the future? I'm gonna have to do like an F-bomb count in this episode because this may be one of our worst. It's just, it drives me insane. Like I think their pride is wounded, honestly. That they kept pushing back against the Snyder Cut for so long. It came out and was pretty well received. And whether people want to see, you're on the side of wanting to see it continued or not, that's a whole nother conversation. But I think that you can't do that and not feel like you look like an idiot. So I don't know.
How do you guys feel about HBO Max now that we're into it a little bit? Like, I kind of look at it and go, we're kind of 2 for 5 here. As far as like the VOD movies, the exclusive, how do you guys feel about those?
I'm fine. I like it. I mean, seeing Judas and stuff on there, and some of the older series, like going back to that, I'm enjoying. So I think it's a pretty solid streamer, to be honest.
For me, it's the HBO Max is the Joe's gonna roll his eyes, but the Turner Classic Movie section where it's just all of these very old movies that no one's ever heard of, and I will be.
No, definitely. I like it because it has a lot of the older stuff, it has the TV shows, but I mean like the originals, like like The Little Things, Tom and Jerry, Godzilla. Okay, now, the 2 that I would pick would be like the Snyder Cut and what you just said, Judas and Black Messiah. Yeah. The other one's like, and then you got Tom and Jerry, and you're like, oh well, shit.
Honestly, I think that is the smartest decision they've done, though, is because these are movies that potentially, I mean, Tom and Jerry actually did pretty solid for pandemic times, mainly because it's a kids movie, and kids, like, they'll eat that shit up. But I think it also helped them just get the movies out there. And you have Godzilla versus Kong getting really good reviews. You have Zack Snyder versus Justice League.
WB.
I would watch that. In this corner, now you have that, which had a lot of press around it and had some pretty good reviews. You also have Judas, which is a Best Picture nominee. I think it's smart for them. They've done it pretty well, but they're going to have clunkers. I mean, it's Warner Brothers. They don't release the best slate of films.
Right.
This is going to be really sad, but I'm just happy there's movies. Yeah. And so, like, there was a Friday where Tom and Jerry was on, and I was just crying on my couch being like,
it's new.
I will say this much, because I will go back and on what I just said. I do think HBO Max, both Snyder Cut and Godzilla, even though I was at home watching them, I felt like I was back at the movies again. It felt cinematic. It felt like I was like, I had the popcorn. I'm like, this feels like normalcy again. It was, so I will give them that. That was fucking awesome. Yeah. But
it's going to be interesting to see how we already know based on the deal they struck with Regal that they're not going to be doing this like dual premiere thing again next year.
Right.
They do have a shorter window that they have to be in theaters. That their films have to be in theaters, so they will probably be hitting their streamer earlier, but not like same day debut. But the other interesting thing is I think Deadline had the story, and if it wasn't, I was just about to apologize to Deadline. So if you're listening, Deadline, we apologize. But there was a story about Dune and how they're still debating what to do there, and they can't reach a deal with Legendary on how to release it, and it looks like it might actually just be in theaters. And not a dual release. So, which fine. I think it's fine. And especially at that point, like I said from the very beginning with this, that they should have said for the first 6 months, like through June or whatever, we are going to day and date debut in theaters and on HBO Max, and then see how things go. But to strike off the entire year, especially when you have theaters starting to reopen now, like majorly, and of course, COVID is completely beaten and gone. I'm kidding. Now that we're in the position that we are, I think it's time to just throw them back in theaters and drive people there. You got to keep that industry going.
It's weird. It's weird too. Is like I noticed like physical media is coming within maybe like a month or two after it's released on VOD or in theaters. That window's getting shorter as well, which is kind of odd, I guess.
Yeah, it's very odd. But the good news is Paramount wants to do their part, so they're releasing 2 new Transformers movies in the foreseeable future. And let's focus on this one right now, which is going to star Anthony Ramos of In the Heights and Hamilton. I love Anthony Ramos, by the way, but this had some. This got Sean and I having some fun online about what this could be. Sean, you said you'll see it if what?
Well, I just hope there is. This is apparently this is a movie where he it's a prequel like almost Bumblebee, where he is befriending Optimus Prime, and there's a moment where they want Anthony Ramos to betray him, and so he just sits. He turns to the people and just goes, "I am not gonna betray my butt. I am not gonna betray my butt. Hey, yo, I'm young, clanky." I don't have more. Don't write the time code.
I just wrote the time code.
Bravo, sir.
It is.
I haven't been listening to anything you've been saying for a while, waiting for that. So,
oh my god. Anyway, he is described by Collider in an article with Collider, or an article by Collider, as a flawed and vulnerable hero who made mistakes in his life and is eager to redeem himself with the help of Optimus Prime. Okay, I said that if it's a musical, I'm calling it right now. Best original song in the 2023 Oscars, I guess it would be. We're All Spark.
Oh.
Sung by Anthony Ramos live on stage, but they'll only give him 30 seconds to highlight the parts.
During the credits, of course. It won't be one that's in the movie. It'll be during the credits, like all best original songs are.
Yeah, sung by Kesha or something. Burns, are you a Transformers fan?
No, bro. No. No. I saw the first 2 in theaters, and then halfway through the second one, I'm like, why the fuck am I in this theater? And then I over the years, like everybody else, you catch the sequels on like FX at like 2 p.m. on a Sunday, and you're like, well, this is fucking garbage. I've heard Bumblebee is kind of good, but I haven't seen it yet. Good. So,
Bumblebee is enjoyable, yeah.
And, look, I understand why I took the role. Like, it's going to kind of put him on the map, and maybe he can kind of pivot after that. It's a move. It's going to suck, though. It's going to be god-awful.
I think it's interesting.
I think that comes down to it. It worked with Bumblebee and Haley Steinfeld. She is very charming. She could have a connection with a CGI robot. I think Ramos sort of has that same, like, welcoming innocence that I think that there could be a chemistry between, once again, a CGI robot. But I'm open to it because I want him to do well. But when it comes to the Transformers movies, hey, right now they're on the uptick because Bumblebee was the last one. So I'll say to you, okay, well, you know what? Keep going with that. Keep doing that same exact blueprint, and I'll be happy with it, honestly.
I'm still waiting for a Beast Wars adaptation because that cartoon growing up was my absolute favorite every morning before school. So Paramount, throw a third one in the mix. I think what's kind of crazy though is like I think he's a good actor, quite honestly. I really enjoy him in A Star Is Born as Lady Gaga's friend. Like he's funny. He's just, I don't know. I think he has some potential there. So I'm glad to see that he's breaking into a larger film like this, a tentpole film that is not focused just on music, unless Where All Spark becomes reality. Someone else who is really picking up is Steve Yeun, of course, from Minari. He is now said to be a part of Jordan Peele's next Universal film. We don't really know anything about it other than Keke Palmer and likely Daniel Kaluuya are involved. Burns, let's talk about Jordan Peele.
Yes. Love him.
You love him. Okay, go on.
Well, it's funny. Is he starring in the next one? Because
Stephen Yeun is, yeah.
Okay. Yeah, I mean, I love everything that Jordan Peele does. Whenever I see it's like produced by Jordan Peele, I'm like, yeah. But yeah, I loved Us. I loved Get Out. They were both like very Twilight Zone Hitchcockian, and yeah, man, Stephen Yeun from Minari, Walking Dead, always pretty good. So, do we know anything what it's about, or it's just a Jordan Peele joint? Yeah.
We know nothing other than it's listed as an untitled Jordan Peele horror event. Everything's an event now.
I mean, has Jordan Peele ever done a cast where it wasn't an all-black cast? I mean, usually it's like an all-black cast and then like like some supporting white people who are probably evil. But like, have you
this
ever?
This would be his only his third directing gig, but
Okay,
in terms
that's what I thought,
of producing, no.
Yeah, with producing, he's got a literal production company, so that umbrella is very wide. He's produced almost everything these days.
But yeah, definitely a big fan. He seems pretty well at like combining like, social commentary and horror into like one cool blend. Always a good time.
From the studio that brought you Get Out.
All the time.
All the time.
Comes Fantasy Island.
Misunderstood film. Just kidding. Sean, thoughts on this one?
You know what? Shout out to Steven Yeun. This guy's got a filmography that is insane. I mean, he came onto the scene with The Walking Dead. You got him in Bong Joon-ho's Okja. Right after that, he was in Sorry to Bother You and Burning in the same year. Burning is a great film. Sorry to Bother You, Boots Riley. He's kind of in everything. And then you go a little bit further, and literally he is in something we have mentioned already today. He's the lead in Invincible. He's Invincible.
Oh, yeah.
He is.
And it is kind of one of these things where, and of course, Minari, which he's like, nominated for an Oscar for. It's truly like this, like great, like assorted, very different, like assorted career that he's had, which is really kind of wonderful. And I really look forward to like, whatever Jordan Peele's going to do. We know it's not really going to be that normal. We know it's going to be something we're probably going to be talking about a lot. So he'll sort of fit right into that project. So I'm looking forward to seeing him.
You know what it is that he's so damn likable, Steven Yeun. I don't know what it is about him, but I can watch him in literally anything.
Well, think about it. Everyone, for the fans of The Walking Dead, everyone was just like, Glenn is probably one of my favorite characters. And if they're not, they're like, oh, we still really like Glenn. And we were devastated by that member of the Unholy and what he did. But like that like kind of one of the things there that I just think, yeah, you're right. He is just this likable face, but he brings something weird and new into everything. Like in Okja, like we all talk about Jake Gyllenhaal being a weirdo in that, which he is. Steven Yeun's pretty weird in that as well. Like he's like very odd in that. And so I kind of like, I didn't love that movie because of how odd everyone is, but I love that he brought the energy needed for that movie. He's
a very vulnerable actor in every role that he's in. And I think that's like, you just always connect to him in some way. Or as my dad refers to it, Glenn from The Walking Dead, right? Isn't that him?
Pretty much, yeah.
I'm going to add one more story to our list because this is too good not to cover. I just had this up. Actually, I've had it up for 24 hours and have yet to post it on the website because I'm just so excited about it. Deadline has the exclusive news. You guys ready? The famed Easter candy Peeps is being turned into an animated feature film from the Mauritanian producers. That's a combo. Deadline has learned that Wonder Street has acquired the film and TV rights to the marshmallow candies, with the feature billed as being in the spirit of Trolls Meets Smurfs. That makes sense. It will follow a ragtag group of Peeps characters who set out on a cross-country journey in order to attend Peeps Fest, an annual brand celebration in Pennsylvania. Oh, well, they're from Pennsylvania. Got it. Okay, well, that's...
Fuck me.
There was... Peeps recently went with Pepsi, combined with Pepsi to make a marshmallow.
I saw that.
And I'd rather stomach that right now than sit down in front of this movie, whatever it's going to be. Trolls and Smurfs, do they want people to see it?
I don't even like Peeps.
No.
They're awful.
I used to love them. I was a fat kid. But yeah, that's all happening. The Mauritanian, that's a really interesting connection too. So that movie it's going to make a lot of money. Prepare yourself now. It'll make a lot of money. There will be 2 sequels. The second one will be more musical. The third one will go a little darker, and then it will spin off into a Netflix series.
James Corden will be in all of it.
He'll be the gay Peep.
Not for nothing. I'd rather they just make like a 90-minute like Eminem movie, like those commercials.
Oh, that sounds great.
Watchable, right? Way watchable than fucking Peeps and Trolls. Fuck me, man.
I would watch a Peeps documentary, like just about like the history of it. I love that stuff.
Oh,
I would
sure,
watch that immediately. But
yeah.
Now, is this going to turn into a horror where they put them in the microwave and they just start to expand?
Oh yeah, is this gonna be like all CGI, or is it gonna be like welcome to our reality, and like James Marsden pops up and it's like
James Marsden loves himself some CGI in animation. It just says being turned into an animated feature film, so it doesn't say anything about live action hybrid or anything like that.
It's gonna be awful.
On that note,
yeah, why did you end on that? What do we... Happy Easter. This is sucks.
Yeah, so that's all happening. Let's real quick just talk about top new releases that are coming out this week. Thunder Force is coming out on Netflix. That is Octavia Spencer and Melissa McCarthy as superhumans of some sort.
Yeah, Burns, I guess you're right about that Netflix thing.
Did you love The Kitchen? Because boy, oh boy,
do we have the film for you?
Wait, isn't Octavia Spencer also in The Kitchen? I know Melissa McCarthy is.
Yeah,
I'm blanking on the three. All right, well,
Taraji P. Henson.
When she
was at the top of her, what was that, Empire game? Wasn't she in Empire?
Was she in Empire? No, that was no. Oh wait, no, not Taraji P. Henson. Shit, Tiffany Haddish. I got the wrong T. Tiffany Haddish, Taraji P. Henson, Octavia Spencer.
Taraji P. Henson is Empire.
Taraji P. Henson is Empire. Tiffany Haddish is The Kitchen.
And Bad Trip.
Bad Trip.
All right, and the other film that's coming out is Voyagers, which is sort of like a space drama type horror thing. That I'm actually like, please just give me a good space horror film.
Cosmic Sin.
Cosmic Sin is still hurting me to this day.
I'm a little worried about that because I got an email, and basically, long story short, I'm getting a screener the same day the embargo goes up, which tells me it's probably not very good.
When are you getting that, John?
Wednesday. I think the embargo is Wednesday at 4 or something like that.
Same.
Yeah.
And then you're not allowed to review it Wednesday at 5 or something like that.
So, it's gonna be like chaos walking. Yeah.
That always is concerning when they give you either they give it to you late or they say that the embargo is like the morning it releases. I'm like, okay, really don't want people talking about this.
I guess I'll stand by, you know.
This Thursday, which is April 8th, Trivia Night with Guy at the Movies and the Chumps is Horror Movie Edition. A lot of people have been asking for that over the course of the last few trivia nights, so that will be fun. It's going to be 9 p.m. Eastern on YouTube and or Twitch. And this is actually going to be a fun week because we have a couple of questions that are being provided via video by directors of some horror films. So that is kind of cool, kind of exciting. So something different to check out. But Burns, once again, we thank you for coming onto the pod and talking about the Peeps movie and bearing with me about Walter Hamada and how he does not know how to plan his way out of a paper bag. Where can people find you?
Across the board, Letterboxd, mostly Instagram, believe it or not, but of course on YouTube, Burns Reviews, Movie Reviews, Ending Explains, Blu-ray Hunts, we got all of it, Movie Talk, stop on by.
Awesome. And Sean, what do you do?
Math Teacher Movies on Instagram. I do Monologue Mondays, What the Oscars Got Wrong Wednesdays, and Final Shot Fridays. I also review movies and TV shows of old and new. Also at GuyAtTheMovies.com, I have an awards watch column every Monday. GuyAtTheMovies.com.
That was very good.
in my head when you started, I have an award-winning column.
Just say it.
Yeah. Throw it out there. And you can find me at Guy at the Movies on Instagram, Guy at the Movies 1 on Twitter, Guy at the Movies everywhere else, and GuyAtTheMovies.com for all of your movie news, reviews, trailers, and TV recaps are really starting to pick up. A lot of great contributions. Please check that all out. And I will say that one of the most interesting things recently has been that the partnership I have with BoxOfficeReport.com is really taking off in the sense that people are really into the box office reports recently. There's been a steady uptick. So that's kind of cool seeing that as the box office is coming back, that people are really into that. So keep an eye on that on Thursdays and Sundays for analysis from Dan over at BoxOfficeReport.com. You can listen to this podcast anywhere you get your podcasts. And also, I forgot to mention that if you listen to the WWE podcast, not the official WWE podcast, but we have an ad running on there that is pretty fun. So check that out and learn a little bit more about what is going on in the world of World Wrestling Entertainment, which, according to some internet sleuthing, I found out is one of the top regular searches on Google, which is insane to me. Still going strong. Vince McMahon, mastermind.
It's got its audience.
Brilliant.
Do the same shit over and over again every year, rinse and repeat, and hey, people love it. I used to love it. I was obsessed with it. Anyway, Sean, people need to do what?
Oh my God. People are getting vaccinated, which is great. When it's your turn, get vaccinated. I think it's almost everybody's turn. Double vax bros. Let's go. Get vaccinated. But also, before you are getting vaccinated and while you're getting vaccinated, please continue to wear your masks. Please keep wearing your masks. Please keep wearing them 2 weeks after as well. Please, 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 please wear your masks, because everywhere cases are starting to go up, and we don't want to have another fourth wave, which I don't know if the US has had a fourth wave or just one gigantic wave that has just engulfed us the whole time. But please, please wear your mask, everybody. Keep doing it. I know it's tough. We're almost there. Keep going strong.
I can't find the actual meme that I want to pull up right now, but this is the picture from it, and you'll understand immediately why I'm bringing it up. But the meme said something along the lines of, like, this is what people look like after they get vaccinated.
Oh, no.
Multipass. With that little card you get and all that.
Little card.
Fifth Element, I unfortunately believe that it's going to end up being rebooted soon. Because it just seems like one of those. But I love that movie. That movie is such a blast. So yeah,
who would be your pick for the new Bruce Willis? Because that seems like a tough casting call.
The new Bruce Willis. I don't know. I really don't know. That's a good question. I would like to see some of the characters like flipped around. Like it would be. This was a very '90s movie, but it would be nice to see like the kooky person be like a dude, and like maybe
so you want a naked dude with like a white getup just falling at him.
Well, then it's Sacha Baron Cohen.
Yeah. And also consider who I am. But yes, I do.
We lost ourselves for a second.
And also, that just reminded me. I'm going to butcher his name here. But the guy from Bridgerton, Renee Jean Page.
Yes.
I would like to see him in more things because I think he has a lot to offer, and I don't know why he popped into mind. Probably because one of the things that pissed me off in the whole story about Walter Hamada, and with not just Walter Hamada, but the WBDC story, is that Jeff Johns poo-pooed them diversifying Krypton, the show. They originally wanted Renee Jean Page was going to be the grandfather, and the closed-minded Jeff Johns said, we can't have a black grandfather for Superman. And then they wanted to make another character gay or bi, and they said, absolutely not. So Warner Brothers, pulse of the people.
But they're aliens. What is the like? Who? It's like that would be very unrealistic. What? It's Superman.
That would not happen on Krypton.
That would not happen on this alien planet.
Yeah, that's a Mars thing. All right. Well, I think that's a good place to end it. Burns, thanks again for coming, and we will see you all next week.